So I have Mr. Palm Reader himself.
Well, 20%, yeah.
20% of Palm Reader. How are you?
I'm good. Hot and sweaty in the underworld, as it always is. Clammy and smells of piss. But yeah, it's all right.
I want to talk about Braille, obviously. So what was it like writing the album?
Unbelievably stressful. Some people have real joy in writing songs. These were the product of a lot of personal issues, grievances, some bereavements over about an 18-month period. Yeah, it was not good, but it was quite getting the album sort of birthed became sort of really cathartic in the end. Kind of brought us close together because through everything that was going on, we sort of started drifting apart. But when the album sort of like took shape and started to kind of like become a singularity, it's kind of sort of brought us all back in on like a friendship basis as well. So it was quite a roller coaster.
Was it kind of quite nice to have a kind of cathartic process of writing the music and everything?
Yes, in some respects. In others, it was quite. There's a lot of raw nerves touched. There's a song on there called Dorothy, which I wrote for my grandmother, which I thought at one point she was gonna pass away, and it looked really touch and go at one point. So that was kind of like a bit of a personal thing for me. And there's some other stuff. Some of the lyrical content in there is really personal to Josh, and then turns out it became personal to a couple of others of us as well. So yeah, it's just pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But
obviously, it sounds like there was quite a lot of pain and anguish and stuff like that. Is that reflected in the music, would you say?
Yes and no, because if you kind of write this kind of music, then you just love a big, fat, heavy riff, and it can be as aggressive as you want. But we're kind of five jovial idiots. Jake Bannon from Converge said something along the lines of they write the music they write because it's catharsis through nihilism. And I kind of quite like that. Obviously, we're nowhere near a patch in them, but it's pretty cool.
I was going to say, speaking of the UK scene, what's your opinion of the UK scene at the moment?
It was shit for a while. There was a lot of cookie cutter hardcore, just copy paste khaki shorts and big marine t-shirts and two-stepping and jogging on the spot and yada yada yada, and it was all just really bum. And then everyone went, oh hang on, that's not cool anymore because we now like the Smashing Pumpkins and the Smiths. So everyone broke up at the same time, and kind of the UK scene sort of like took a bit of a breather. And now there's like ridiculous bands like Loathe and Parting Gift and Cove at the moment. Outside of the whole kind of like fuzzy shoegazy influence type stuff, like 90s grunge influence stuff, there's not like a kind of real trend at the minute. So everyone's just kind of just doing their own shit, and it's really cool. And I'll keep name dropping Loathe because they're fucking sick, and they're top dudes as well. Yeah.
What are kind of like your biggest influences, like either bands or when you're writing songs?
For me, bands like ISIS and Poison the Well,
Good answer.
Jesu, just for guitar anyways. But then sort of like for this album, I was listening to a huge amount of sort of soundscapey ambient stuff. There's an album called Landings by this guy called Richard Skelton. It's mostly done on cello, and it's really really haunting. And then there's another dude I've been listening to loads called Tony Anderson, who just writes just fucking incredible soundtracky type stuff.
Okay.
And it's real kind of like you can just sit and go, everything's a bit shit at the minute. I was going to listen to some music, and it kind of like provides a soundtrack for you to kind of like work out your thoughts and so on. And that some of that has definitely leached its way into Palm Reader, because like the first album we did was just kind of like quite punk rocky-ish, hardcore-ish. And then the last one was like a lot more aggressive because of the situation we wrote it in. And then this one, because we took a lot more time over it, it's obviously there's been a lot of outside influences just sort of gradually leaching in, and which is why there's a lot more prog stuff on the album, at least sonically.
What can you elaborate on with the title Braille?
It initially came about as on the when's the Golden Gods, like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I was sitting in the back of the van going down with Heck, and I was like, I might try just sort of like coming up with a concept or something, and I just put like Braille into my phone, and then found a Braille generator, and just went, okay, that's kind of cool. It's like, and then sort of it's almost like a Pinterest board to begin with, and then as that sort of started developing, and the whole kind of like feeling your way through everything seemed to dovetail into Josh's lyrics like a lot, and then it kind of we just went, well, the album's called this, so yeah, that's now what it is. It was really bizarre, but it just worked.
In what way does it kind of feed into Josh's lyrics then? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, I will have to pretend to know all of his lyrics. I'm on about 40% at the moment. So there's a lot of things, a lot of themes on Braille about finding sort of like you're finding your path or finding your way through, and sort of like I think the whole sort of sensual sort of like feeling type of stuff sort of fell into it. So which is why sort of Braille became more apt as a title.
Okay. And then is the album cover, is that kind of representation of this like semi-drowning feeling?
Yeah, we gave it to Jamie McDonald, who did our first album cover. Used to play in Bastions, now plays in Terrible Love. We've known him for years. He's an awesome dude. Okay. He sort of had a bit of a chat, and then Josh said, "Oh, there's some things about feeling, sinking, drowning, and so on." And then Jamie went, "Oh, I've sort of went away," and a couple of weeks later went, "What do you reckon of this?" And we went, "Oh, shit, that's really good." And then he went, "Oh, okay, cool." I'd just give him a minute. Came back a week later and just went, like that. We went, "Oh, shit!" Like the whole thing, like it somehow manages to like resonate with like the sound of the album. We think.
But I think that's even cooler, really, rather than like figuring something out, because everything's sort of slotted into place.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to say that the whole album came together as easily as Swarm did, but it did not. But yeah, when things like that sudden, like can just click, it's fucking awesome. Yeah. And then some things like a wave take 2 years to write because they're just not quite there. Well, it's been kicking around, and we've loved chunks of it, but we could never get it to just sort of just sit, sit properly.
I was going to say, so finally, what does Braille mean to you? Both, like in an emotional context, musically, everything.
It is a journal. Okay. I guess a journal that's turned into a tome of that chronicles a very difficult period of all of our lives, snapshotted in April 2017, and it's definitely my favourite album. We've done 3, but out of the 3 of them, it's definitely my favourite one. When the first one was all kind of like, it's an album, it's wicked. It's not. But this, I'm still listening to this one, and we've had mixes since like September last year, and I'm still listening to it. And it comes on in the car. If it comes on shuffle and I don't turn it off, because I really like it, because I think it's really good. But it's it's a definite child we are very fond of. Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much for having a chat, mate.
You're very welcome.